We continue to preview the 2025 college football season. Our next stop is Dickinson, North Dakota, as we get to visit with the head football coach for the Dickinson State Blue Hawks, Coach Pete Stanton, heading into year 12 as the head coach of the program. Coach, congratulations on another year. I want to start talking about 2024 because it was a 10th consecutive conference championship as you closed out the North Star Athletic Association, as you had done for a decade, winning the conference title and making a playoff appearance as well. 10-2 overall. The only regular season loss was to Wisconsin Stout, and that's a D3 school, so no NAIA losses in the regular season. And then, of course, the playoffs, you get a big win over Kansas Wesleyan in round 2, and a loss to future and now current conference member Montana Western, so you get a chance to see them again sometime very soon. But it was a great season.
Yeah, it was. We were really proud of the year that we had, and as you said, started off we had a big win over Rocky Mountain College the first game, and then we lost the one to Stout, had a lot of chances in that game, lost 22-20, and they went on to have a great year. They beat Wisconsin Whitewater, and they had a good year there, and we once again did a good job in the conference in winning that. But you're correct; it's been a long time since we'd had a home playoff game. We played a lot of away playoff games in the last several years, and to get a home game was really exciting for our fans and program. And as you said, we got the win on a real blustery cold day, and to beat Kansas Wesleyan, and just had a great year. So I was really proud of the year we had, and the guys on our team were just a great bunch of guys.
From this year, you're looking back. We're looking back to 24, but the university and the football program looks back 100 years in 2025. From 1925 to 2025, Dickinson State is celebrating this fall 100 years of football. I know as the head coach, it means a lot to you. You're also the athletic director, so you've been a big part, I'm sure, over the last few months getting ready for this celebration.
Yeah, it's really exciting. When we did a trial run 2 years ago, tried to have a reunion to get as many guys back as we could, knowing this was coming up in a couple of years, and we had over 200 guys come back at that time. So we're expecting, to be honest, double that this fall with 100 years of football. I mean, there's just a lot of tradition and a lot of pride in the program, and we're very fortunate too that our former players are really well connected with our program. We have an outstanding touchdown club that made up of a lot of former players that help connect a lot of our alums, and we have several alums that are including myself that are on the staff, and it's just going to be an exciting time this fall to get everybody back. We have all kinds of people coming back, and it'll be a neat thing for our program.
It'll be a different feel as you all have made the move to the Frontier Conference. And as we preview 2025, then I look at the offensive side of the ball, Coach, and names that I've been saying for the last few years here, and Will Madler, who's been a big part of what you all have done on offense as a quarterback, Braden Zuroff in the backfield, names that we're not going to be talking about in 2025. And really, I'm not even sure where to start. So I'll just leave that entirely to you from the offensive side of the ball. Who are we going to see this year?
Yeah, we have lose an outstanding group of seniors. In fact, overall, offensively, defensively, over 20 seniors, which was a sad thing and a good thing at the same time that you have that many seniors go through the program. But losing Will and Braden and most of our offensive line, we'll have some work to do for sure. We do return Carson Lunick on the offensive line, who was an all-conference player who missed most of the year last year. He broke his leg the first game of the year against Rocky, and he's going to be an anchor for the offensive line. And then we do return Samaj Clark at wide receiver, who was our leading receiver last year. Gage Gilbert and Caden Houle are at tight end. They were pretty extensive for us last year as well. And then we do, running back, we played several guys there that backed up Braden because he went through some injuries last year. So we do have some guys returning there. But it'll definitely be a different feel. And we've got, some different guys competing for that quarterback position. So, I think we have some pieces there, but a lot of it's just going to depend upon, how we can fill, you never fill a shoes of Will Madler or some of the guys you mentioned on the offensive line, but how we step up. And we do have some young guys that have played a lot of downs for us, but now it's their time to go.
We're visiting now here with Pete Stanton, the head football coach for the Dickinson State Blue Hawks here on Midwest Sportsnet. And I encourage you, please take the time to like the video and subscribe to the channel as we talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. On defense, it's a little bit easier, at least from the perspective From my perspective, looking at numbers from last season to talk about returning players, and Riley Waters, coming back for his senior year at linebacker, led the team in tackles and was second in the team in both tackles for loss and sacks. He was behind only Dylan Dahlgren on the defensive line, who led the team in both those categories as well. And you look at that, you all found your way into the backfield of your opponents a whole lot more than your opponents did into your backfield. And those two were among those who led the way.
Yeah, no question. Those two you mentioned, Riley and Dylan are outstanding players for us, outstanding people and leaders, and they're definitely going to be the core of our defense. We also got guys on the defensive line like Wyatt Anderson back. We'll definitely miss Matt Anderson, who was an all-conference player for us, but we think we have some pieces in there. At linebacker too, we have an all-conference player, Nathaniel Gillick, who's been a 3-year starter for us, and Shell Osborne, at Zeke. So we think we have some pieces and some guys back on defense that have played a lot of downs for us. We lost Jaden Hartwell, who is an outstanding corner for us. In fact, he was player of the year, the defensive player of the year in our conference. So he's going to be a big loss. We do have a couple of guys that started in the secondary that are back, and a couple other guys that played quite a bit. So, we think if we, can stay healthy there and keep developing some depth on the defensive line and in the secondary, it will be okay on that side of the ball.
When it comes to special teams, you have an all-conference performer coming back there as well, and Chase Miller, who was your kicker last season and was solid for you.
Yeah, outstanding kicker, very consistent, a guy that could hit long field goals. And, in the fall, we get some wind once in a while, and, a guy that does a pretty good job of navigating that wind and does a really nice job. So we're excited to have him back. And, special teams is an area that we do have to improve in some other areas on, and, in our punt return game and, things like that. We need to improve in a few areas there, but in having, an all conference kicker, a guy that's been very consistent, is obviously a big plus for us.
Coach, you mentioned that, and I know I live in Oklahoma, and the western side of the state, the wind really does come sweeping down the plain. I would imagine where you are, it can be a little gusty at times in the fall.
Yeah, we'll get some for sure. And and not here, but at other places. And, it really, you just got to adjust and deal with it. And, our guys, Chase has done a really good job in the kicking game and dealing with it. And we practice that a lot. We practice situations a lot, to make sure that we're good to go and dealing really with any kind of conditions that we run into.
Coaches, as we have this summer been getting to know coaches a little bit more, the question of the summer has been this: what is your favorite 80s song or 80s band?
Boy, there's a lot of good ones. Where do you go with you've got Queen, and you've got Def Leppard, and you got Journey, you've got all these great bands that our players even know these bands, and they listen to the music. Now their music now I don't really get into very much, but I do give them a bad time that they like all those 80s. Most of them like all those 80s bands that I mentioned. A lot of great ones. What a great era.
I think you mentioned some great ones too, and Def Leppard and Journey definitely find places in my rotation when it comes to what I'm listening to, for sure. The season gets underway again, celebrating 100 years of football, and Coach, it's a Thursday night versus Valley City State, a longtime rival. Made the move in the conference as well over to the Frontier. Not a divisional game yet, but a solid game on a Thursday night in week 1. And then you get a bye week, go on the road for the first time to take on MSU Northern. September 20th, get Carroll at home, and I know that's always a big matchup there. First Frontier East game will be October 4th, and that's at Mayville State. And then I want to mention one more, October 11th, because Dickinson State fans need to come out to this one. It'll be homecoming, and it'll be the time where you all officially celebrate 100 years of football at Dickinson State. So take a little bit of a look at your schedule.
Well, it's always nice to play that first one. The Thursday night game is a real fun one for us, whether we're home or away. And at the conference, we decided to play one team a couple times, and a couple teams are doing that just to limit the travel, and that'll be a non-conference game. So, we'll be good good for our region, good for our school. That Thursday night game before Labor Day seems to be a very popular game, and we're excited about that. And then, as you mentioned, we we didn't get a great draw on the schedule. I don't like the bye being right after the first game, but it is what it is. And then we go to Northern, who's definitely improved team. They had a big win at the end of the year there, and then we cross over against two outstanding teams. With Carroll College coming here and Montana Western, they're the outstanding teams, both of those programs. So we know that we're going to have our hands full all year long. Our guys understand that. We're just going to do the best we can to prepare as well as we can and have the best season we can try to have.
All right, Coach. Well, we always enjoy following the Blue Hawks here on Midwest Sportsnet, and we will definitely do that again in 2025. I want to say thank you so much, sir, for taking time with us today here, Coach Pete Stanton from Dickinson State, as the Blue Hawks get ready for 2025. Thanks for previewing the season with us.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.